Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talks Talk. This is a very special episode. We've got Anthony B, otherwise known as Kerry's Rarities, on YouTube. He's here with us. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people who may not know who you are?
Well, I do YouTube videos. I do just like gameplays, collection videos, but I'm also known for also uploading a ton of music stuff on my other channel, whether it be Marilyn Manson, all these like really obscure bands or CDs I find at the record store, and even rare videos that I upload painstakingly.
Yes,
So
some of the stuff you've posted, way beyond me. I don't know what it is, but that's really cool though.
yeah. I'll,
And you
what?
also showcased a lot of Manson bootlegs I had never heard before, so
Yeah,
that was super cool as well.
yeah. I found this really old website that, I just downloaded a bunch of like stuff, Manson, like recordings that go all the way back to the portrait era. Well, actually, even before that, like 93.
Oh, like Spooky Kids.
Yeah, Spooky Kids era, all the way up to like 2009. So,
Uh, the dreaded Eat Me, Drink Me tours.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I used to troll some of the Manson websites back in the day that had a bunch of bootlegs and stuff on them. And there used to be there was a few sites like that. There was a Nine Inch Nails one, which I think is still alive, and there was a Stabbing Westward one, and all of them had a bunch of bootlegs and stuff on them. But it was always super cool.
Mhm.
All right, so for anyone who may not have seen one of these episodes before, basically what we're going to do today is I have asked Anthony to bring with him 3 albums that mean something to him that he would like to talk about. I'm going to ask him a variety of questions, and we're going to play some games. And that's how this is going to go. So, what I'd like to know from you first, when I don't hit my microphone, is what got you into music? Like, what was your earliest musical interests? Did anybody in your family show you music? Anything like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, when I was a kid, we're talking, I'm kind of younger, so
Mm,
I was born in 98. So, uh,
my first year of high school.
wow. Uh, but yeah, I just listened to the radio a lot when I was like a kid, whatever was popular at the time.
Mhm.
I remember listening to stuff here and there, but I didn't really get into like music until I was like really into music until I was like maybe 9 years old. And because I was obsessed, to those who are younger, this little video game called Guitar Hero.
Mhm.
And I
Would this
remember
would this be the original Guitar Hero or one of the sequels?
it was Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3 at the time,
Okay.
and Rocks the 80s, if you count that. Um, and I would just listen to all these bands. Of course, they were re-recorded versions at the time, but they sounded just exactly like the original.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
mostly close enough.
yeah, and I just remember really loving that. And also, when I was 9 years old, I have it over there, but my I was in fourth grade, and we did this contest called, or it was a lip syncing contest,
Mm.
and I have my friend Andrew, my best friend since we were very young, and we did a lip sync to Kiss's "Rock and Roll All Night,"
Okay.
the live version. Uh, and I remember we did that. One of my friends actually bought me the Best of Kiss album, and we did that. And yeah, that was all fun and dandy. So, and although at that time I didn't, that was Kiss was probably the heaviest thing I had heard at that time. And I didn't really get into like heavier stuff. Like, like I knew about some bands like Deftones and stuff like that when I was in junior high.
Hmm.
And then I just now here's the interesting thing about how I got into new metal. Now, new metal was, of course, its popularity when I was 11, or 12, 13, whatever, was
That's
already kind of
2011, 2010. So yeah,
2011.
so yeah,
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, yeah. But I remember watching this YouTube channel. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a channel called Conspiracy to Terminate.
No.
Okay. But it was a channel that would upload a lot of these local new metal bands. And I just remember being obsessed with it. These are really cool. Like you could tell they were very, lower quality
Hmm.
recordings. Uh, I listened to bands such as Life Hates Me.
Yeah, they have imperfections. I know them.
Yes. Ordered by Chaos, which are from
Don't know.
Florida. Uh, I don't know if they're really considered new metal. I call them more alt, but that's where I found out. Maybe around similar, but I found out a band called Endorphin.
I don't know them.
Okay, that was a band from Florida. They're still around. Um, and I just remember listening to a ton of like these bands, and I was just like, this is really cool. I missed out on a big era. So that's when I kind of just got into the whole thing. And then I, of course, moved on to alternative metal and then, industrial,
Hmm.
which, that all changed when I was 14 when I discovered, I don't know if they're really industrial at the now, but like they have industrial moments, I guess you say. When I was 14, I discovered a band called Static X.
Hmm.
I mean, if you look at my name, Outsiegel Electric, kind of checks out.
Yeah.
Uh, and they just became my favorite band ever. And then I just kind of went from there. And then I found out about Cold Chamber. And then I found out about all these other bands, and Marilyn Manson, you know.
So
So,
you came in through new metal through Static X, kinda. Well, the
yeah,
local ones. But that's an interesting gateway band, but a cool
yeah,
one.
yes, absolutely.
But yeah, by you discovering those like the underground local bands, it was like somebody opened this door for you for the first time, and you were like, "Whoa!" That's
Yes.
that is super cool.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I discovered other genres like noise and punk rock and all this kind of stuff,
Mhm.
which was a whole nother thing. But
Punk was one of those things that kind of passed me by somehow. Like the earliest bands I got into that were like harder um were all in the industrial spectrum. Like well, most of them. It was Manson. This is all around like 98. It
okay,
was Manson, Rob Zombie, Power Man 5000, White Zombie. Those are the only ones I can think of. And I really liked the first Smash Mouth album. But I
yeah,
also
yeah,
really liked Monster Magnet, who has no association with those other bands.
right.
Um, but yeah, so as I was getting into that, and then I went new metal. But yeah, punk outside of like Bad Religion and pop punk, like I never sunk my teeth into it. Um, which I feel is unfortunate because it's one of those genres that I just kind of missed. It was how I was with like metalcore, when that was starting to
Hmm.
become a thing. Like I was too far into other stuff to really pay attention to it, and when I did, it was that whole rise was kind of dipping out. Um, so did you have family members and stuff who were also into music who showed you anything?
Okay. Interestingly enough, I have a cousin. His One of my cousins was a huge metalhead. I mean, Like he's seen so many metal bands. He's seen one I'm really jealous of that he saw like 9 times was Typo Negative. I'm just like,
Excellent.
yeah, yeah. He's seen Ozzy. I think he's been to so many like Ozfests too. He's probably been to like a bunch of them. Seen Slipknot, I know. And we sort of talked about that. And what a funny story is, I remember when I was learning guitar at one point. This was like 2015.
Hmm.
I had made a bunch of like Static X mixes and I would just print out pictures and just label it. I remember my cousin was in the room and he saw that and he was like, oh, Static X. And I was like, yeah, you know about him? He's like, yeah, I met Wayne outside of the Roxy in
Eh,
California. And I was like, really? Yeah, that's an interesting story. But yeah, going back to uh, family members who like music. I mean, my uncle was a guy who always sort of liked other stuff, but he wasn't really. I mean, my uncle has seen Tool and Nine Inch Nails live. That I know.
okay.
But other than that, he's more of a movie guy. Honestly, he's never really like was huge into music. My dad's favorite band is Journey. So we
Nothing
listened
wrong
to
with
a
it.
lot of yeah. So I remember he and I would listen to a lot of 70s rock, in his car. My mom uh, was never really into heavy stuff. She was more into like 80s pop and 90s. Like probably the hardest thing my mom's listened to is probably Van Halen. But
Fair enough. Yeah,
yeah,
my mom was her two favorite artists were the Beatles and Elton John. So,
yeah,
but also gave me like 3 Alice Cooper vinyls when I was a kid. So there's a balance
right on.
there.
Oh, right on, right on. And my brother, that's an even more interesting story. My brother hated metal for a long time.
Okay.
Like I remember showing him like anything that had to do with like screaming or yelling, which was understandable at the time. You're young, you don't really know about a lot of this. He didn't really get into it, although he got into Static X a little more after Wayne passed away. And I tried to show him Marilyn Manson, but I think he didn't really get it. Or
He like a lot of people, it's a love it or hate it situation. Rarely do I find people in the middle.
yeah, right.
And that's kind of the same thing with metal in general. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, I hate the screaming. The music's kind of cool, but I hate the screaming. I get it.
Yeah. And now my brother, I'm not a, which is funny because I like rap metalish stuff, but I'm not too big into like rap in general. But my brother nowadays is like a die-hard hip hop fan.
I was into like that was the first music I properly got into on my own. Because I didn't have any rock friends or metal friends.
Hmm.
It was all rap, pop, R&B, and rap. So
Hmm.
that was all I listened to when I was like 12 or 13.
Hmm.
Like but the thing is, some of those bands, like some of those artists have stuck with me. Like I still really like DMX was really cool for his first couple
DMX,
albums.
yes.
Ice
Rest in
Cube, I
power.
like early Ice Cube is awesome.
Yeah.
The first 3 Eminem albums are really good. I get crap for it, but I really liked Insane Clown Posse up until 2002. Um,
Okay. Okay.
so like their era where they were using like guitars.
Uh-huh.
Um, like I liked that, and there's a few others like here and there where I like pick and choose songs, but I feel if I had stuck to like if I could find a way to get into proper like underground hip hop,
Hmm.
I'd be all for it. But everything I hear on the radio nowadays just annoys the crap out of me.
And that's the stuff my brother loves.
Yeah, and I don't vibe with it. I'm like, I feel nothing from this. Whereas I can put on old Ice Cube and I'm like, he is pissed and he's gonna shoot somebody for real. No.
Yeah. Yeah, like old school hip hop I dig. Like the first Snoop Dogg album, Doggy Style, that's probably one of my more favorite like hip hop albums, or early Eminem, you know.
Early Snoop and early Dre are also really good. The Redman, Method Man were cool. Wu Tang was cool.
Mm.
Um, I never got into who's the guy who was on the Korn album? Nas?
Nas.
I've never listened to Nas, and I've been told time and time again to listen to him, but I never have.
Yeah, same. I need to get on that one of these days.
The only one of like the I call him stupid, but the more mainstream kind of dumb rapper guys I liked was I really liked Ludacris for a little while. I thought he was very
Ludicrous.
I thought he was very funny.
Yeah.
And all of his beats were really good, so it was cool.
Yeah, was that the guy who like had like an album cover like him eating chicken with the
Yes,
women?
Chicken and Beer.
Yeah.
That one had I think that's the one that has the Too Fast Too Furious song on it and the When I Move You Move song. So very good.
Mhm.
You mentioned you were playing guitar. When did you start playing and do you still play instruments?
I learned for a little bit, and then I don't know why, but I just never really got serious about it. Then I just kind of got away from it. But now that I'm thinking, now recently I've been thinking about learning about how to play bass.
That is actually a really cool thing. It's an underappreciated thing, but bringing the low end to a band is very valuable if you get good at it. Like, I mean, look at look at Mudvayne.
Yeah, that guy's yeah. Um, so yeah, I just like always wanted to learn to play bass because a lot of bassists I really admire. You know, I mean Les Claypool for one. It's a
Les
pretty big
Claypool
one.
is crazy, and I'm not even a Primus fan, and he's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not a big fan of Primus either, but yeah, he is wild.
You got to get a you can't get a guitar strap though. You got to get a big giant metal chain so you can be like Peter Steele.
Yeah, there you go. Peter Steele.
So what is the first album that you would like to talk about today?
Right. I got a story about this one.
Okay.
One I own physically. The other two I'll have to probably talk about. Well, actually, can we do four albums?
You and everyone else who's been on this channel. Yes, you can do four. I'm
Okay.
gonna start opening with four and see if somebody tries to push me to five.
All right. Anyway, so the first one I have a story about, but before I talk about like the
Mhm.
songs, but is Marilyn Manson's "Antichrist Superstar,"
An excellent album.
my favorite Manson album. Now before I talk about like the music on this, I want to talk about how I discovered this album, and it's actually kind of an interesting story. I was like 13 years old. Yeah. And I remember going to this record store, Pepperland Records. Shout out to them, they're no longer around. And I remember going through the cassettes, and I remember like I remembered Marilyn Manson. I heard the name, but I never really actually listened to their music because kind of a religious upbringing, really, you know, not really something that you would really want to show your mom. But uh, I remember finding a bootleg cassette of Antichrist Superstar and Mechanical Animals on one tape, although I don't even think the Mechanical Animals fit at all because it was like a pretty short tape. But
Yeah, I was gonna say time wise, I don't think that makes sense. So they probably would have been shortened. But
yeah, I remember listening to it. I put in my Walkman, and I remember just hitting play, and it was weird. It was like hearing these chants: "We hate love, We Love Hate. And I remember thinking, oh, what? And then going into Irresponsible Hate Anthem, it was just like, wow, what the hell did I miss when I was younger? Just like I remember listening to it again and again and again and again and again. Like I remember rewinding the tape because I love that song so much.
It is
It's such
a great opener.
it amazing opener.
That was like an opener on a bunch of their tours too, which
It
made
was.
which made a lot of sense.
Yes. Yes. And I was just like I fell in love with Manson immediately. That was just like and then I eventually bought the album CD and I pretty much bought all of Manson's. I think I have every Manson album now, but
I'm missing a couple. Uh I don't have Heaven Upside Down because I hate that album, but I have most of them. I think I might be missing like 3.
okay.
Like I don't know if I have Pale Emperor. I don't have Born Villain. I know that. So I think those are the 3 I'm missing.
Okay, yeah. Uh the Born Villain era was actually the era that I got into him, funny enough. So this is like 2011, 2012.
Yeah, Born Villain's one that took a long time for me to really adjust to. Like that whole era, like I had fallen out like after I was still on board for Golden Age. Eat Me Drink Me's after Golden Age. I was still okay there,
Mhm.
but starting to tip, and then High End of Low came out and I was like, I'm out. And then I was for a while, and then I came back. Um but yeah, talk more about your infatuation with Antichrist.
Okay, yes. So I remember listen okay, then I heard The Beautiful People,
Mhm.
which I remember listening to that. I'm like, okay, I'd heard it's like sort of like Marilyn Manson's like number one song, which, it's a good song and all, but you
It's
know,
it's definitely one of his most popular.
yes. Uh and then just like hearing that, it's like, okay, okay. And then I heard Dried Up, Tied Up, Dead to the World, and just like that crunchy guitar, I'll be your lover, I'll be forever,
Yeah.
I just remember it was sounding super cool at that time.
I
It was
I loved his voice for a long time. It's kind of beaten up now. But
yeah,
when he uses it right, it still works. But yeah, at that time, Antichrist, Mechanical Animals, Hollywood, untouchable. I loved it. And yeah, that
yeah,
the guitar tone on Antichrist is super dirty, and I love it.
yes, yes. And then, Tourniquet, that's another big hit. Now we're kind of getting into talking about the album, I realize, but it's all right. But yeah, Tourniquet is a really good song too. Uh, just remember watching the music videos too. I remember showing my when I was getting trying to get my brother into Manson. I remember showing him all the music videos,
Oh, that's probably not the best idea.
and he was like, I remember one of the times showing him Tourniquet, and I just remember this weird, confused look on my brother's face,
Yeah.
just like, eh. But I really do like Tourniquet. That's a really good song. You know?
The video is super cool. I love all the videos from that. I love most of his early videos.
Yeah, me too. Uh, and Little Horn. Little Horn is probably one of my favorite songs
It's
from this
super
album in
heavy.
general. Yes. I just remember playing that again and again and again. That was another one I played, sort of like Irresponsible Hate Anthem.
Yeah, Little
Uh,
Horn and 1996 are monsters. I love both of those tracks so much.
1996, yeah, that's
Yeah.
another great stuff. I wish they played that live a lot more after. the anti.
Yeah. And then for the longest time I had the Dead to the World VHS,
Yeah,
and I hate the version he does on that where he does it really slow and
where
does
he's
it.
like talking
Yeah, he
like,
does
man,
he does talks it
yeah,
instead of. I'm like,
it's like, yeah, okay, yeah. I remember. Have you ever heard the I don't know, a long time ago, like I have a CD somewhere of like fan mixes, but have you ever heard the version of 1996 that someone used the Powerpuff Girls theme?
no, but that sounds like it would be awesome.
Yes, it's great. Someone like used the Powerpuff Girls theme in 1996. It's great. Anyway, uh, Crypto Chit. It's a
Ugh.
decent song.
I
Yeah,
I like I like it from an it's interesting, but that is like the skippable song on that album. Everything else flows. If it went straight from Little Horn to Deformography, mwah.
yeah. And then Deformography. Amazing song as well. Listen to that a lot. Uh, Another song is like it's not one of my favorites on it, but it's still a pretty decent song just because I love Manson's deep voice in it. Worm Boy.
Worm Boy's cool. Worm Boy was
Yeah.
one of the few, if I remember correctly, Worm Boy is one of the few songs where they didn't really alter Daisy's guitar part when they
Yes.
made the full album. Like that was one of the songs he basically wrote from scratch. So they
Mhm.
kind of left his riffing in.
Mhm.
And then Reznor plays guitar on two songs, and I can't remember which ones.
Okay. Uh, yeah. And then he goes into Mr. Superstar, which I actually learned how to play the guitar. It's so easy to learn on guitar.
Yeah. The da 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 da
Da,
da
da,
da
da,
da
da,
da
da,
da da.
da, da.
Yeah,
Now,
Mr. Superstar, like the run of Mr. Superstar, Angel with the Scabbed Wings, Kinderfeld, Antichrist, 1996, Minute of Decay, which is my favorite song on the album.
yes.
Reflecting God and Man You Fear. That run is awesome.
Yeah. It's like going on just a roller coaster of
A
craziness.
a horribly angry and depressing roller coaster.
Yes.
Yeah, I
But
love that album, and it disappoints me that like Manson. I get that he has a whole bad rap right now. I understand, but
yes.
the fact that I can't, it's really difficult to talk to people about Manson because they get uppity about it. So I can't show people unless they're willing to listen. Like I can't show them Antichrist Superstar. I can't show them Mechanical Animals. I'm like these are really good. And
These are like his,
they're like, no, he's a bad man. I'm like, I don't care.
yeah. Yeah. The rest of the album, just great. Uh,
What were I know you got to look at it from a different perspective. What was your feelings going, because I assume you listened to Mechanical Animals after you listened to Antichrist.
yes. Then
So
I
what is
flipped the
your
tape.
what's your feelings on the transition between those two?
Okay. I might as well. Yeah, I have it. So listening to that, and then going from this is amazing to this is like, I mean, I still love it, but then we go into Mechanical Animals. I remember listening to what was it? Great Big White World. And I remember thinking it was pretty cool. Uh it was different,
Mhm.
but I still dug it a lot because I like that whole industrial thing, uh and just listening to, of course, before I was listening to Static X, so I knew about like a lot of the, kind of like industrial-ish moments,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
No, I
So
get where you're vibing.
yeah, so I completely, I I like this too, but Antichrist Superstar will always be my favorite. This is probably I would say this is my third favorite. Hollywood being my second favorite, but
Hollywood's not a bad. For me, God, I really don't know which one I like more between Mechanical Antichrist because they're so vastly different. But I love both of them to death, and both of them have like one song I skip. And Hollywood's right there in third, and it's close though. But Hollywood's really good, and then Portrait, and then all the other ones. You can lump all those in. But yeah, Mechanical was the first one I heard because the first Manson I heard was Dope Show.
Yeah, that was a big song.
So like, because I got in at 98, so Dope Show was what I heard, and then I got Mechanical on cassette. My mother also didn't want me to listen to Manson, so I had to take my bike, ride 3 miles, 4 maybe, on my bike across town to the record store, pay them in singles and change to buy the Mechanical Animals cassette tape, and then I brought it back home and I hid it away from my mom. And I had that for she eventually came around. At first she was like, no, this man is evil, but then through years of badgering, she kind of warmed up to it. She wasn't full on board for a lot of the shock rock things, but like she had seen Alice Cooper, like she knew who he was, so she's like, I get it. She just didn't like him showing his butt and everything. Because she saw him, she saw him 3 times with me. So my mom saw Manson. She really liked him the first time. We saw him in 2001 at Ozfest. That was Hollywood. And then we saw him during Golden Age of Grotesque at Ozfest, and she didn't like him because he kept trying to shove a bottle up his butt. And then we saw him with Alice Cooper in 2011. It was the Bourne Villain era, so 2011.
Okay.
But I got her to read his autobiography, and that changed her opinion. Like, she read the autobiography. She's like, some of the stuff in here is dumb, but I now look at him as a person instead of this weird evil rock star. And she's like, I get it. And she really liked The Beautiful People.
Yeah.
Didn't really speak much on anything else, but she really liked The Beautiful People, and it was all because of the drums. She's like, da 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 da.
Yeah, my mom kind of lightened up to Manson as well. Like, now she doesn't mind if I listen to it, but she's not, super into Manson at all.
Both my parents were kind of open. They got open eventually, because my dad's like was 10 years older than my mom. So his music was I rarely got exposed to any music through him, but it was Neil Diamond was what he really liked, and Billy Joel. But they were okay with us playing music around them and in the car, as long as it wasn't rap and as long as it didn't have a lot of swearing. So when my brother went through his rap phase, they hated it.
I remember you mentioning that.
It was, but yeah, for the most part. And my mom I might have mentioned this before. My mom dealt with a lot of music that came on the radio or that I listened to, but there were certain songs that she just absolutely downright hated and the thing is, like, from the outside looking in, you're like, I don't understand why you hate that. She hated Incubus's Pardon Me.
How?
Because she hated the rapping and she thought it sounded dumb as hell. She's like, I hate this so much. She's like, I could tell he's white and he sucks. I was like, all right.
It's like, okay then.
The thing is, that actually shaped my opinion of that song. So that's like one of the only songs on Make Yourself I don't like. She trashed on it for so long that I was like, yeah, the song does kind of suck.
Yeah.
I like the rest of the album, but yeah, she hated that song.
Yeah.
So, outside of Manson and Static X, what were some of your other favorite bands growing up, or even now?
Now, um, let's see. One of my favorite recent bands. Oh, geez. Oh, I just after I remember watching this video, and they're still going around this band, and it took me a long time to get into them, but I remember someone said when they opened up Antichrist Superstar, they were doing an unboxing a long time ago. I can't find the video now. But it was like, well, if you like Marilyn Manson, you'll like this other guy who is similar to Manson, but not as big. But check out Society One.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay. I remember did not like Society One at the time, but now I think they're cool.
I vibe with. I have one of the albums. I own one, and I'm trying to remember. I think Fear is in the name.
Mhm.
But yeah, I remember being like, I'm like, this is all right. But yeah, there were a lot of bands that people tried to shovel on me. They're like, if you like Manson, you like this. And I was like, it's all right. You're going more for you're more giving me something to try and shock me more than giving me like industrial metal, which I want.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then, of course, listening to all these other bands and listening to punk rock and all this. Uh,
So have you become a big punk fan over the years?
yeah, it's funny. Yeah, when I was, oh yeah, another thing. That's another thing. Another thing that really got me into music
Mm-hmm.
was playing a crap load of Tony Hawk.
Which one?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4,
That's not Tony Hawk 3. Get out. uh,
American
oh, is that
Wasteland.
American Wasteland?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
No, no.
I played the first 4, and then my brother swore by is American Wasteland the one that has 2, or is that Tony Hawk Underground?
Underground.
Okay, yeah, he loved the Underground ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good too. But I remember, they had never, and whoever at the time was with Neversoft, they had a damn good taste in music. I'll say that.
Yeah,
They like I listened to a bunch of stuff, but when I was younger, I remember my mom didn't really care for me listening to like all the harder stuff. So, oh, Pig Destroyer, turn that off.
that's that's for good.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, but like I remember the sections in the radio, like you could turn off, anything that said punk, just turn it off. And I was like, so I would like see all these bands, that said punk, and I didn't listen to them until many years later, of course. But
mhm.
one of the first, bands in that genre I got into was Mike V and the Rats, which not a lot of people really know about, unless if you're a diehard skater, because Mike
Yeah, I
Vallely.
don't know who that is.
Oh, okay, he was one of the skaters. Uh, in the game, yeah, and I remember just listening to a bunch of like punk, and I remember really liking it. Black Flag, which is like pretty typical stuff.
Yeah, I liked
And then
Rollins Band.
Rollins band, that was in Pro Skater 3, I remember. Um, yeah. So yeah, I got into that, I got into like all this other stuff. Uh, what else did I get into? Oh yeah. One one thing I never thought I'd get into is actually like Irish music,
Okay,
listening to like,
like Celtic music.
yeah, Celtic music.
Okay.
So like the Pogues or stuff like that. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
The Pogues is a band I've heard the name of dozens of times, and I don't know if I know who they are, what they sound like. I had a friend who was into a bunch of like Irish punk bands, so I heard stuff like that, like Flogging Molly and stuff like that. But yeah, my to the previous point, most of my exposure to punk was through the Tony Hawk games.
Really?
Yeah. So I played Tony Hawk 1, 2, and 3 religiously. I loved the crap out of them. And if all punk sounded like those bands, I'd listen to punk all the time. But yeah, I loved that stuff. And that was how I got exposed to a bunch of those bands for the very first time. Like, I didn't know who the Descendants were. I didn't know who the Dead Kennedys were. There's like Pennywise, Millencolin, like all those bands. I had no idea. Or Zebrahead. I didn't know who they were.
Zebrahead.
But yeah, so a lot of those Tony Hawk was a good influence on me for as far as music goes. And one day I'll explore those bands. but go more into the Irish music.
Oh yeah, listening to the Dubliners, I'll listen to like, stuff if I'm in the mood, especially if it's like really happy, cheery, kind of like, let's dance together, I'll really get into it, and the I have an uncle who's actually from Ireland.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think he got into a lot of those bands as well. So that I didn't expect to get into, The one of the genres that I'm still trying as hard as I can to get into is noise. Like noise, kind of like rock. That makes sense.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, noise and drone to me are one of those things where I try it every once in a while and I'm like, I don't vibe with this. I need a hook somewhere.
Yeah, like, if you're using like noise and like stuff as an opener, that's different.
If you're making actual songs and you're incorporating noise elements, I'm fine with that. Like,
yes.
Because I like bands like Boris, and Sun. They're all right. So I'm okay with it, but that can't be your only sound. Otherwise, I'm tuning out.
Right, like, I was just listening to them last night, but listening to a band from Louisiana, I Hate God. They incorporated that.
I saw I Hate God.
Oh, really?
I hated it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. There's something that's one of the few genres I can't really get into.
Sludge.
I love Doom, even though I don't listen to it that much anymore. I love Doom. Stoner metal, sludge. There's something there that I don't like. And every time I've tried, I'm like, ugh, I don't like this. Even Acid Bath, who everyone tries to push on me, I'm like, they're okay. But yeah, I saw I Hate God open for, it was Gwar headlined and Napalm Death was the middle band. And I Hate God was a slog to get through. And then Napalm Death pissed me off, even though I love them, because they played all their songs like 130% of the speed. So they're already fast. So they made all their songs like blur into one another, and I was annoyed. I was like, I can't tell what, like, I would hear like a bit of a riff and I go, I think I know what that is. But then before I would be able to really get into it, it'd be over. I'm like, this is annoying. Gwar, man,
that would, yeah. What was this with pre-Dave or after?
After, because this was within the last couple of years.
Oh, okay. But did you ever see Gwar with Dave?
No. This was my first true exposure to, like, I knew I had a friend who had Scumdogs of the Universe and he used to play it, and I thought it was funny. But outside of that, I wasn't really exposed to Gwar. I knew what they looked like. I knew the spiel of spitting stuff on the audience. And so I went to it mostly for Napalm Death and left going, wow, I would gladly go see Gwar again. And I would bring every friend I knew, even if they didn't like metal, just because I went to work the next day and I like had videos of it, and I showed like my like 50 or 60-year-old managers. I'm like, look at this. They're like, he just cut Biden's head off and sprayed his blood all over the audience. I'm like, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Funny. But yeah, I was highly entertained. And now I wish I'd gotten into gore earlier.
Yeah, me too.
It
Me too.
yeah, I've been brought to shows before where I've gone to see this big notable band and
Mhm.
had no real interest going in, and then left going, wow. So that's why they have a big fan base. I get it now. I did that with I saw King Diamond.
Oh,
And
did you?
while I'm still not the biggest fan. He has a very acquired voice.
Hmm.
But I went in and I was like, stuff I've heard's all right. And then I can't remember who the two openers were, but both the two openers were good. Oh, Uncle Acid was one, and
Uncle
then
Acid.
the former Idle Hands, who's now called Unto Others, was the other one. Both of them were good.
Okay.
And then King Diamond came out and did his whole theatrical thing and went through a 90-minute set, and it was awesome. All for it. It was like power metal Alice Cooper. But yeah, so yeah, like I Hate God was I went in vaguely knowing who they were. Like people had tried to show me stuff before. And I was like, I'm not sure if I vibe it. And then I saw them live and I was like, I never want to hear them again.
Yeah.
But I know a bunch of people who love sludge, so I mean, it's just not for me.
Okay.
I'll stick to Enya.
Okay.
So
But real quick, I wanted to ask, what was another real quick question I wanted to ask? What was a band that you saw live that you dug the opener more than the actual headline band?
so there's a few. And there's a few where I went in going for the headliner and not caring about the opener. And then by the time I left the show, it was reversed. I went to one of my earliest concert experiences was Archetype, so it would have been 2004.
Okay.
Fear Factory was touring. They were the headliner. Lamb of God was second. Children of Bodom was the opener. Children of Bodom was crazy. And I was like, oh, that was crazy. That was good. I didn't like Lamb of God.
Yeah.
I saw Lamb of God. Lamb of God blew me away. I was like, wow, they were really good. Fear Factory came on, and Fear Factory sucked. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, that was disappointing. Because I love Fear Factory's studio stuff, but live they're hit or miss, kind of like the Deftones.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was some show where I saw the headliner was Black Dahlia Murder, and I don't like Black Dahlia Murder, and I left that show still not liking Black Dahlia Murder. But Goat Whore and Dath were the openers, and they both killed it.
Go Horror are awesome.
I absolutely love Goat Whore. I chatted with the lead singer for a little bit, because
Really?
everyone was very interested in like staying there and watching Black Dahlia Murder, and I didn't care. So I had wandered away to, it was a very small venue. So they walked like 40 feet to the merch area, and he was standing over there. And while he was on stage before I think it was the last song or second to last song, he was doing his, he was like talking to the crowd and stuff. And he was doing this weird rocker thing where he's like, all right, so we got a couple more songs for you. Is there anything you guys want to hear? It's like, you want us to do a little Black Sabbath? It's like, how about we do a little Judas Priest? How about a little Limp Bizkit? And they were just like, boo! And he's like, what? So they went into their last two songs, and I I knew that what I was going, my opener to speak to him was I was going to rag on him for making the Limp Bizkit joke. And so I went up to the merch table and he was standing there, nobody's bothering him. And he was like, hey. And I was like, hey, I like Limp Bizkit. And he went, oh no, I wasn't me. I'm like, dude, I'm messing with you. But he's like, oh no, he's like, yeah, he's like, I don't, he's like, none of that music bothers me. It's like, yeah, we briefly talked about it because he was like, yeah, he's like, I, a lot of people like rag on those heavier bands, but like, or like the new metal bands. Like he
Hmm.
wasn't referring him to us, but he was talking. He mentioned a few, but he's
Hmm.
like, we played shows with those guys down in like Louisiana. Like we don't care. They're touring buddies.
Yeah.
It's like when Whitechapel used to or did like noted like somebody crapped on Whitechapel for defending new metal. And they're like, we used to go see Full Devil Jacket all the time. Go away. But yeah, so I talked to the goat horror guy for like 25 minutes. And then he was super chill. He was one of the nicest people. Him and Dez from Coal Chamber are two of the nicest people I've ever talked to.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool. Because Des is like one of my favorite vocalists ever.
I went into because I saw him at Ozfest and it was during the touring cycle for the first Devil Driver album.
Hmm.
And so you basically, it was one of those situations where if you buy a CD there, you can go through a line and you can get autographs and stuff like that. So I did that for Devil Driver, OTEP, and Soil. Soil could not be asked that I was there. OTEP was all right. But she seemed very annoyed. Not at me, she just seemed annoyed in general. Um, but Devil Driver, all of the band members were super cool. Everyone signed my copy of the self-titled album, and then I got to stand there and talk to Dez for like 15 minutes. And I asked him about Coal Chamber, and he like at that time, anytime somebody mentioned Coal Chamber in interviews and stuff, like when they were talking to him, like he'd be like that project's dead. I want to talk about it. Blah blah blah. He was super chill with me. Like
Yeah.
he's like yeah, it just ran its course. He's like I'm super happy about all the stuff we did, but it ran its course. And now
Yeah.
we're probably getting a fifth Coal Chamber album. So I mean, it's cool.
Yeah. Weird how that happens.
So you mentioned Tony Hawk. What was some of your earliest gaming experiences? Like what got you into games? Is that another thing that like a family member showed you, or did you find them on your own?
Oh, okay. Here we go. Someone's asking me about gaming. All right. So my earliest gaming memories are now. My dad had a Windows 98 computer that he used to work on when we
Mm-hmm.
lived together, and I used my first gaming really were just like simple PC games, just like for kids. But
Mm-hmm.
so PC was really, if you really want to consider it, it was my first console, I guess.
It counts. I get you.
Yeah. And I would play games like action games, such as like, let's see, two in particular I know I had were Emperor's New Groove and Tarzan.
Okay.
And I played those, and I played computer games a lot. And then
What kind of games were they?
just like simple, kids games, like Winnie the
Okay.
Pooh. You know. And then when I was like 6, I got this my back in the day when you would go to the malls, they would have these like sort of like 5, 10 games in one. It was like a really cheap, like kind of like those like consoles where like the games are built into it.
Yeah, yeah.
You get at the mall. And I had one of them. I can't remember for the life of me what the name was. I was not into it at all. But on the other hand, my uncle. Now the funny thing is, my uncle was not a gamer, but he had a friend who would bring his 3DO. You know what a 3DO is?
Yes, I never had one, but yes, I know what a 3DO is.
Okay. and we would play it together, and that was really my first console. We would play Road Rash a lot,
I
and
loved Road Rash 3D.
such a good game. Uh, Balls. What was another one?
I remember Balls. That game was
You
weird as
did?
hell.
Yeah, it was. I remember Wing Commander 3, which for the life of me and my uncle could never figure that game out.
That was like me and my dad with Top Gun.
Yeah, there you go.
We're like, this is cool, but how do we land the plane?
uh, yeah, and then 2005 comes around,
Mhm.
and the four big consoles at the time were Dreamcast is dead at this point, but
PS2, GameCube, and regular Xbox?
and 360 because this was 2005.
Oh, so the 360 was out. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so
Halo or Xbox was early 2000s, wasn't it?
Xbox was 2001.
Okay. Oh, so this was 360 time. Oh. I loved my 360.
Yeah. And then, so what did my mom get for me for Christmas? A PS2, a Slim.
Okay.
It was it came with a couple of games. It came with, let's see, Hot Shots Golf 4, um, which I never really played.
I
Uh,
I like, of all the things I shouldn't like that I love, I really like golf games.
mhm.
And it's mostly a parent thing, because it was the one game that my dad and mom would play with me on the Nintendo. We had this archaic Jack Nicklaus golf game, and
Mhm.
then on the NES, and then they got Link's Golf on the PC,
Okay.
and I would play that with them all the time, and that was the only gaming they would do. So yeah, I have this weird connection to golf games. I liked the Hot Shots games.
Yeah, one of these days I'll give it another shot. But another game I got was Shrek Super Slam for PS2, which is a very it's think of Shrek and Super Smash Brothers. They
Okay.
did that thing because there was a lot of Super Smash Brothers clones or
PlayStation
Super
All
Smash Brothers
Stars.
Melee clones, excuse me. Yeah. And I got into that, and I don't have that same Slim anymore, but I bought another one. And also, I didn't know this at the time, but I had a couple of PS1 games. Now
Mhm.
I got to PS1 a little later. Uh, and those two games, or no, there were three of them. It was Medal of Honor.
Oh, the
Uh,
original one?
yes.
That game was crazy when I first played that. I was like, this is the future. Now it
Yeah.
probably plays like crap, but it was the future.
Yeah. It was that Stuart Little 2,
What?
which was Stuart Little 2.
Oh, the mouse. Okay.
Yeah. And Battle Tanks Global Assault.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's kind of like a tank game. It's all
Okay.
right. Yeah, and that was just like my love for the PS2, and then a couple years later, I got a Wii, which I like the Wii. It's definitely grown on me for sure. And then a couple of years, no, a year after that, I got, which actually ended up becoming my favorite console of all time, the GameCube.
That was during the run where I didn't have any Nintendo consoles. Like, I never had a Super Nintendo, I never had an N64, I never had a GameCube, and I didn't jump back in until my dad got really into playing Wii bowling at Best Buy. He was like, I really
Mhm,
like this Wii bowling thing. It's cool.
mhm.
And I was like, oh, okay. So we were like a month out from Christmas. So at Christmas, I just bought him the Wii. And yeah, so I ended up once he stopped using it at a point, and then he's like, why don't you just take this? I was like, okay. So then I ended up with a Wii. And now I've got a Switch and I like that, but my exposure to the GameCube was always secondhand. It was other people showing it to me, which a lot of the time was Super Smash Brothers and me getting my ass handed to me.
Yeah, that was me with my cousins.
They're like, come play this game that we're really good at that you've never played before. I was like, okay. Oh, it's like my other friends with Soul Calibur.
Yeah. Like, it's funny. I remember when me and my brother were kids, I would beat him at games like Teenage Ninja Turtles for the PS2, the
Okay.
one based on the '03 series. And he would get really mad when I beat him. And then I would beat him in like another game, Star Wars Episode 3. He would get mad at that. And then years later, we played baseball, and he kicks my ass in that.
He's
So
like, ha!
yeah, years later, it's like, hey, here's this baseball game. Are you a fan of baseball? Or...
So I was when I was a kid, like, because my dad was all about baseball, huge Yankees fan. So yeah, I grew up and we used to go to some of the minor league games around here, and I've been to Yankee Stadium like 3 times, I think. So yeah, I liked baseball. It's so goddamn tedious. However, one of my most played games on Steam on the PC is Out of the Park Baseball, which is just a baseball sim. You don't play baseball, you just do managerial stuff. I love the crap out of that.
Yeah.
Because my ADHD brain works with a love of statistics, so that's just like oozes statistics. That's all baseball is. So yeah, but yeah, I'm far more of a football fan. I think basketball's all right, although it's gotten soft in the last 15 years. And hockey's one of those things I want to like, but I never have.
Yeah, my best friend's really into hockey, likes the Kings, so
it's too fast paced for me in the way that I don't have the best eyesight, so I can't really see the puck a lot of the time. So I'll watch it and I'll go, I don't know what they're going after. I don't know what's happening. I just know that 8 people are going that way.
Yeah, but going into football, I wanted to ask, have you ever played a game called Backyard Football?
I know what that is, and no. My brother had one of the backyard baseball games though. So
okay.
And I know I think they had a backyard version for all sports.
Yeah.
But that was at a time where I was getting into like more, I don't want to say more serious games, but like more like I was getting into RPGs and stuff at the time, and I was getting into, that was probably around the time where I was starting to get into first person shooters for the first time. I still remember the first time somebody gave me a controller in Call of Duty, and I had played Halo for 4 years. So I was like, oh, I can handle this. And I started Call of Duty and got shot and died. And I was like, what just happened? And then I spawned and then got shot again and died. And I was like, huh. So that's how this is. I don't know if I can play this. I was good for a little while, but oof. I haven't tried playing Call of Duty in many years though.
Yeah.
Crap, I derailed that.
Yeah.
So like what have you been gaming recently?
Hold on a second.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll get there later in a second. All right. Okay, anyway, what was the question again? Sorry.
What's some of your more recent gaming?
Playing okay.
Console stuff like that.
I've been playing PS4 games here and there, one of the I've been really getting into the new Resident Evil. That's pretty good. Are you a fan of Resident Evil, or are you more
Village or the remakes?
Village?
Village is rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't beat 7 or 8. and like ended up giving up like halfway through both, and then ended up watching somebody play them because I was like I can't do this. But no, Resident Evil was one of my favorite series for a long time. The original Resident Evil 2 still stands as one of my favorite games, although the remake is outstanding. Huge fan of 4. I will die on a hill saying that 5 was awesome. I don't care what anybody says. 6 sucked though, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the way they're going with everything though, like visually, Resident Evil Village looks amazing. But now I'm super hyped for the Dead Space remake that comes out next month. And they finally rebooted or brought back from the dead Silent Hill, so some of those games are coming out next year. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I never really got much into Silent Hill. I need to.
It's hard at this point because the good games are long gone. Like 1 and 2 are my favorites, and then 3 and 4, they're fine. You can find a really archaic Let's Play of me playing 4 on the channel from like 7 years ago. It's not good. Don't watch it.
Good. I'll watch it.
But then they did Homecoming and Downpour, and those were kind of whatever. But they're remaking 2, which I'm super excited about. And there's a bunch of new ones coming out, so hopefully they do something good with them.
Okay, yeah, right.
So we are going to now, if you're interested, play a game.
Okay.
So I've got 2 games that I've done on previous podcast episodes that it's going to be multiple choice the first time around, and then the second part is fastest thought first. So basically what I'm going to do is the first one is called time travel. I'm going to give you how many groups did I make? 6. So I'm going to give you 6 different groups of 3 bands. All of these bands released their debut major label album somewhere between 2002 and 2004.
Okay.
And they're all of the new metal variety or alternative metal.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me which one of the 3 would have done the best if you took them out of 2002, 2003 when new metal was dying and put them in 1997, 1998 when the genre was starting to explode.
Okay.
So yeah, you just tell me which one of the 3 that you think would have, if you took their debut album, moved it back 4 or 5 years, which one would have done the best?
Okay.
All right. So your first grouping is Dry Cell, Switched, and Third Strike.
Okay. Well, right off the bat, Third Strike, that's I don't think Third Strike would have been that popular. But Dry Cell, on the other hand, I truly believe in 97, 98, had they put their album out, I think it really would have had much more of a chance. I mean, Body Crumbles, if they put that out, like, for the soundtrack of, like, say, some movie back in the day, I mean, it would have been a hit, no doubt, in my opinion. And Switch, I think that came out, maybe not 97, but maybe 99. I think Switched they had a new, like, I'm talking like first album, like the second album, I don't know.
But
like
yeah, but subject to change.
Yeah. Like maybe 99, 2000, I think that they would have been pretty good had it not come out in 2002, but but no, Third Strike, I think would have been long, kind of just in the dollar bin, kind of
like they were when they came out.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dry Cell is the one you're going to give it to?
Truly Dry Cell, yes.
I can get behind that. All right, your second grouping. Sev, Twisted Method, or Dragpipe?
See, Sev, again, I think that was another band that probably could have been a little. They would have been, I don't know, probably would have been mildly successful uh, at one point, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna give that honestly more. And then Dragpipe and Twisted Method sort of like blend in together for me because they're both very much like rap,
Aggressive.
yeah, aggressive, But I think okay, if Twisted Method come out had they like released their album before Limp Bizkit's first album, I think they would have probably been a lot more popular than Limp Bizkit in a
I can
weird
understand
way.
that. Plus, they also had the look that probably
Yes,
would have worked.
yes, that's exactly it. And Dragpipe, I mean, like you said in your new metal video, I don't think people would have got the humor in their sarcasm with their video and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people thought that like video was supposed to be super serious, and I'm like, I don't think that's what they were intending.
Yeah.
Like I listened to the lyrics, I don't think they're being very serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so Twisted Method on that one.
Yes.
Here's one for you. Sinistar, Lollipop Lustkill, Grade 8.
All right. Grade 8. Well, the first album. Okay, grade 8. I
Yeah,
think
not the second album.
yeah. Uh Probably I don't know. I think grade 8 would probably have been uh well liked at some point with their fans, but I don't know if they had the look that they would have gotten popular. I don't know.
They
Uh,
all wore basketball shorts.
yes. Now, Lollipop Lustkill. Now, Lollipop Lustkill. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got that mixed with the Lunatic Candy Cream. Okay, because that wasn't.
You're not the only person that said that to me. But I like
Candy Lollipop.
yeah. I like Lollipop Lustkill far more than Lunatic Candy Cream.
Yeah.
But
Lollipop Lust. Yeah, that was another. Yeah.
but they both had like a look to them.
Yes. Sinistar, I believe, truly would have fit. Like, I'm going to vote for them because I really, really, they had a thing. Like, they definitely,
The
like
thing
vocal
is,
one.
the
What?
thing is that probably would have helped Sinistar is the fact that this was say 97, 98.
Mhm.
Industrial was still a thing.
Yes.
It was still popular, and nu metal was becoming popular. That would have been a very good bridge band.
It would have been. Yes. And just like listening to them, why weren't they? They could have been well openers for a lot of those industrial bands. I think
Lots of missed promotional things.
it totally was. Yeah. I mean, I know they got to open for Rob Zombie and Static X later on, but
And Fred Durst stealing his riffs.
yeah. But yeah, I think they would have made it in like 96, 97. So I'm giving that to Sinistar.
Yeah, I'm fully behind that choice.
Mhm.
All right. Element 80, Level, or The Blank Theory.
Oh, oh. Um,
Now imagine Level coming out before Limp Bizkit.
yeah, that's another thing.
Though they're much cleaner than Limp Bizkit's dirty $3 bill.
That's true. That's true. You do have that.
But that might have worked in their favor.
Yeah, I think they probably would have played together, had they been on like the same label, without a doubt. What were the other two bands?
Element 80 and the Blank Theory.
Element. I'm going to give that vote to Element 80 because Element 80, they probably would have been again on a bunch of soundtracks because during that time, because you listen to some of those songs and it's just like that's totally like a hit. I think Bloodshot, yeah.
Bloodshot, Broken Promises, Scars would have been on the radio.
Yes.
I also think Element 80 has something that a lot of the other bands that we've mentioned so far does not have, which is it's not prominent, but there is a hardcore edge to some of their songs, which wasn't prevalent at that time. Like hardcore was a thing in the underground, but not in the
Yes.
mainstream. So
No.
bringing a band with hardcore elements and a nu metal sound and putting that in the mainstream might have changed the trajectory for a bunch of bands.
Hmm.
So Element 80 is going to be your choice?
Yeah. And Blank Theory, like I said, I like them and all. I'm not too familiar with most of their sound, but I've heard a little bit, and yeah, they're definitely, from what I've heard,
they're one of those bands who's catchy, but you could totally see them kind of just getting lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of like how they did end up getting.
Yeah.
And so this is the fifth one and probably the heaviest grouping.
Okay.
Now I want to see which one of these bands you think probably would have. This is predating Slipknot and Mudvayne.
Okay.
So Down the Sun,
Okay.
OTEP, Motograter.
Ooh. All right. All right. So with OTEP, that if they had somehow
so putting OTEP there also would predate Kitty.
Yes, that's exactly what I've said. But at the same time, Kitty were all female, but
yeah,
OTEP was just a front woman. But I don't know. OTEP. What was the other one? OTEP.
Down the Sun, Motograter.
Down the Sun. Like you were saying earlier with you know, Element 80 definitely without a doubt had like hardcore elements.
Yeah, they had a heavier edge to them. And they also had like some light industrial elements.
That's true.
Which could have helped them.
It's very true.
I think out of those bands, though, while OTEP, of those three debuts, OTEP's my favorite. Mm-hmm. Motograter's the one where I think their album is full of hits. Like, I could see the majority of those songs getting put on like harder rock radio.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the other ones, like some of the OTEP songs, it's like, I can't see they're good, but I can't see that getting like pushed.
Right. Yeah, you definitely have a point with Motograter, for sure. I would say, all right, my vote there goes to Motograter for sure.
All right, and plus they also had a look. They all dressed.
That's
in
true.
pink.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have dug.
Yeah, people give that to somebody in 1998. They're like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And the last one is in more of an alternative metal route. Pulse Ultra,
okay.
Steppa, and the Apex Theory.
Apex Theory. See, wasn't there another band you mentioned that had Theory in the title?
The Blank Theory. The Apex Theory was the one. They had Hope Diggy, the Hope Diggy Da, Tiggy Diggy Da, Ostenante.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a Possibly. Those were the two singles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pulse Ultra had did they have like industrial kind of?
Very light. Like
Yeah.
they had some like synth elements, but they, unlike most new metal bands at the time, they had like a progressive metal element to them, kind of like Carnival.
Hmm.
And that kind of stood out. It just, they were a bit too late to the game. Like that was like 2002.
Yes. Yeah, I think they would have probably fit in like 99 had they come out because but we're again, you're predating Mudvayne, but
Yeah.
do you think that I think they probably would have
I think they could have lived side by side because Mudvayne definitely has the heavier side,
mhm,
but Pulse Ultra was, they were accessible but also had like weird time signatures and stuff. And the vocalist kind of sounded like the guy from Taproot, which
mhm.
that I wasn't even thinking about that. That would have predated Taproot,
It's true. It's true.
or at least Gift. Like something
Yeah.
more than nothing would have been out.
Mhm.
But
Uh
so Pulse Ultra's yours choice for
yeah,
that?
yeah, Stepa had a good sound to them as well. Like they definitely had that you could definitely tell they probably would have sort of been like Dust to Dust, I think, where they probably would have been a opener for a ton of tours.
I can see that.
Yeah.
They would have been the Factory 81.
Yes, they would. They would definitely would have been that, you know, genre or that not genre, but like
Like basically the amongst like the second tier bands, like your Factory
yes,
81s, your No One, your Darwin's Waiting Room, and all those.
yes, yes, exactly.
All
So
right,
yeah.
I vibe with that. All right,
Hmm.
and one bonus question for this, and it's a reversal. I'm going to give you 5 bands, and I want you to take one of these debuts exactly as they sound, put it put them all in 2010 when the genre is dead, and you tell me which one would have survived. Which one would have
Okay.
done the best?
Okay.
Linkin Park, Korn, Slipknot, Deftones, Limp Bizkit. Now, 2010, new metal's dead. Uh, which one of those bands do you think would have made a mark that much later?
You know, I hate to say it because like it's what you call it like are you talking about like if their debuts came out in
Yeah.
2000? Okay. I was about to say.
So imagine somebody releasing Adrenaline in 2010, exactly as it sounds.
Though, like if Adrenaline came out in 2010, I don't I think it would have been a little more popular in the underground.
Yeah, it would have had like this retro vibe to it, like
Yeah.
this almost garage metal sound.
Yeah. Like
Same
it's
with the
and
first Korn album, kind of.
yeah, like it probably would have been like a thing like it, I know a lot of post-hardcore people would probably have found the Deftones to be like really good had
Yeah,
it come out.
a lot of post hardcore fans do openly defend the Deftones and then don't like anything else new metal.
Yeah. Uh, had Slipknot come out in 2010, where like metalcore and all those like bands were just like
Yeah, all that's already happened. Do you think they would have just been an afterthought?
it's very possible. It's very possible, but
Like everybody be like, we've already seen this.
yeah, I think so.
But
So I'm honestly giving that vote to Deftones. But Linkin Park,
yeah, Linkin Park, of those 5, Linkin Park probably has the cleanest sound on a debut of those 5.
that's true.
And plus, this is also what was popular in 2010.
Bruno Mars.
But like, what was rock popular at that time?
Oh, Dirk.
Foo Fighters?
Okay, Foo Fighters. Okay.
When was
Um,
Imagine Dragons? Like 2015?
Something like that. 2013, maybe.
Okay. So this, like, I'm thinking if Linkin Park came in, if 2010 was still a time when, uh, like Fallout Boy and like My Chemical Romance was still going, like the
Yes.
emo-y pop punk bands,
Mm-hmm.
and like that also have like a core edge, like the Used.
Mm-hmm.
I think Linkin Park might have survived that,
Yes.
but I feel their follow-ups would have been vastly different than they were.
Yeah. Like we probably would have gotten One More Light as the second album.
Yeah, or either that, or they would have immediately jumped into the electronic experimentation, like
Mm-hmm.
Living Things and A Thousand Suns.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they would have gone the trajectory they were going. Like later, I still think they would have gone super soft with One More Light.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm honestly
You know, stick with
it's a
Deftones.
tie. It's a tie
Okay,
between Deftones and Linkin Park.
I can see both for different reasons. Like I think both would have their little niche. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think any of them would like blow up like they did when they came. I don't think they would have the significant, like the importance. But yeah, I think those two could have survived more than the other ones. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think Limp Bizkit might have been looked at like as a uh too far gone retro act at that point. They'd be like, we already
Yeah,
saw this.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
And yeah, Slipknot probably would have got lost in the shuffle. They'd be like, we already had metalcore. Go away.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So the next game I'm going to have you play, and this is a quickest thought first. I'm going to give you, and some of these bands we've already mentioned. I'm going to give
Uh-huh.
you 10 bands, and you're going to tell me your favorite song off the top of your head. No deep thoughts, just the first one that pops in your head. It doesn't even need to be your absolute favorite. Just
Mm-hmm.
so this one's called Attack of the Radio, and first one is Corn.
Uh, Favorite, but just in general.
Yeah, favorite song.
Oh, favorite song by Korn. Oh Christ. Let's see. I'm gonna say my favorite Korn album is Bottled Up Inside.
Good pick. Slipknot.
That's hard. That's so many good Slipknot songs. Purity
That's a good one.
or Prosthetics.
Prosthetics is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Mudvayne.
Uh, Nothing to Gain.
Another good one. Linkin Park.
Linkin Park. That's a good question. Points of Authority.
Okay.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit.
Okay. Favorite Limp Bizkit song? I real It's only on a B side, but I like it because how ridiculous it is. It's only on like one of the special editions of Results May Vary, but
Is it Just
Armpit.
Drop Dead?
Armpit.
Oh, Armpit. Okay.
But if you want to talk about stuff that actually made it on the album, Counterfeit.
Counterfeit's a good shout.
Yeah.
Armpit's a good shout too, though. Nice
Yeah.
obscure one.
Mm-hmm.
System of a Down.
Uh, Pluck.
Ah. Yeah, I love that first album.
Mm-hmm.
Head Planet Earth.
Head Planet Earth. What did they have? I have to go back with that one. Uh, oh, I know. Hold on. The one with Feel Good.
Yeah, okay. That's the one with Morgan and Surge.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Coal Chamber.
Ooh, oh, a Cold Chamber. Uh, I love Cold Chamber. Um, I'm gonna go with it's actually a tie between My Mercy
Hmm.
and Blisters.
Blisters is good. I loved all those soundtrack songs.
Mhm.
Uh, Seven Dust.
Bitch, bitch, probably.
Bitch is a good one. And lastly, Deftones.
Deftones, sex tape.
Sex tape. Is that Saturday Night Wrist?
No, what was
Oh
their
wait,
album?
no, Diamond Eyes.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just like,
I think I was thinking of Pink Cell Phone.
yeah, yeah.
All right, so that will conclude the games.
All right, all right.
Now let's go into your second album.
Okay, I was wondering we were going to get to the second
Yeah,
album.
sorry, I derail these things. So.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. My second pick, I don't own a copy, unfortunately.
Oh no,
Uh, Folder, Keep the Flow.
excellent album.
Yes, it is.
No,
Especially the cover.
now what got you into Folder? How'd you find out about them?
Now, Folder, that's kind of an interesting story because I remember going through a list of like new metal bands, like just because sometimes on YouTube you see like playlists of people who have videos, and I remember one of the covers was a photo album cover of a duck and a pig having a shootout. I remember thinking to myself, that sound looks already really cool. And I listened to it and I'm just like, these guys are awesome. That, speaking of Folder, I think that's another band. If they had come to America, I think they would have been just as popular as some of those other bands.
I think yes, their scratching on Keep the Flow is excellent.
Mhm.
Like his voice is a slightly acquired taste, but it's good and I really like it.
Yes,
Um but I mean like, people liked Taproot and he has a whiny voice.
that's
Um
true.
but yeah, Keep the Flow I think would have done well in America like had it gotten proper push. People in Italy like it.
Yeah, it's got quite an audience in Italy. The second album's good too for different reasons.
I like Right Things.
Yeah, but I think Keep the Flow to me was like an absolute masterpiece, and it's a shame there weren't many more music videos for that album too. I
Yeah, I
think
think
if
there's
you,
just the one for Left,
yeah,
the pinball video.
yeah, I think they would have easily fit in one of the Ozfests or Family Values.
Yeah, no, I could see Folder doing that. Like I'm surprised they didn't get pulled onto one of the UK Ozfests.
That's true. That's
I mean,
true.
like Apartment 26 played. You can let Folder play. Do it.
Yeah, yeah. And listening to just some of those songs, just like I also really enjoy their cover. I was thinking about this morning too. Their cover of "It's Tricky."
That is a awesome cover.
Yeah, it's one of the best covers ever. Uh,
Yeah, like putting that out as like a single in America, that probably would have done really well.
oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah. Just like Lifer should have put out White Lines.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, just listening to that and then uh what were the two bonus songs that were on the Japanese edition?
Oh, one was a person's name. Is it Max stuff?
Maybe. Hold on. Look it up real quick. Hope your audience doesn't mind, but
That's fine. They'll live.
yeah. Oh, Divine Stitches
Ah, okay, got you.
and Connected. Bang. Yeah, they feel the same. Bang bang. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole album is really good, and most of Right Things is good too. Like I wish they had kept going.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. 100%.
Although I feel they probably would have started blending more into an alternative sound because that's where they were starting to lean on the second album. But
Yeah.
to get it, like if Keep the Flow had done really well and that style had continued staying where it was, like I would have loved to hear another like a harder take on it because like
Hmm.
they were kind of heavy, but like I
They
feel
were.
they could have gone an extra couple amps.
Yes. Like they definitely have a melody, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, they were very catchy for what they were doing.
Hmm.
Like like I already mentioned, the scratching, the drum work was really good. I loved the tight like rhythm section, all super cool.
One of these days I'll get a copy. Uh,
It took me forever to get copies of those albums.
mhm,
Sucked. Now it's easier. Discogs exists. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. I can get most of these things.
mhm.
Although there's still certain things that I really want to own that are like they're like $80. I'm like, I'm not spending $80 for the self-titled Deadsy album. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I remember, I think the most I've ever paid for an album, like a CD, was probably NMSO4.
Ah, yeah.
You Were Just a Mistake. I'm still looking for the Crooked album. I have a friend who has that. I don't know how he got it, but
Yeah, I've tried hunting down the Crooked albums. No luck.
yeah. One day. Uh, but yeah, I highly recommend anyone who hasn't watched your channel to listen to Folders Keep the Flow because it really is something to experience. And if you listen to it, it's going to really take you back to sort of a time when that came out and just that era in general. It just makes you feel kind of nostalgic.
Yeah, that is a quintessential like European new metal album to listen to, or rap metal.
It really is. It really is.
So now obviously I know where Anthony B comes from as far as your YouTube name. That's pretty obvious.
Mhm.
Where does Kerry's Rarities come from?
All right. So Kerry's Rarities, funny enough, started out as something that I would mention to my friends because I always wanted to put out all these YouTube videos. It's like, hey, I have these CDs of just like random stuff that no one's ever put online. So,
Yeah.
uh, what? Where does the name come from? Well, Kerry is actually sort of based on my last name,
Okay.
but I'm not gonna say my last name here, but it's sort of based on that last name. And
Okay.
Rarities, just because they're actually rarities. Not many people really have them. So I kind of started that, and I started uploading all the stuff, and I think it turned out really good. You know,
You've definitely developed a following. Like
yes,
you've dwarfed my channel by this point. So good job.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't intentional, but
But no, it's my fault for not being consistent.
uh,
I have no one to blame but myself.
yeah. Sometimes getting videos on there though is a hassle because some of these videos I buy from a guy in Portland, Oregon,
Okay.
and then they get them to me. I get them transferred from my friend. I get them on DVD, and then I put these DVDs on a like you know uh, like a hard drive or whatever,
Yeah.
then put them online, which
It's like a 5-step process.
it is. But it's that until
It's
I get my
cool.
own.
It's cool
Yeah,
though, and it shows that you care and you're dedicated to doing it.
yeah. Like there's some bands out there that if I didn't put it out, I don't think anyone would. Like there's some bands like DVDs and stuff like what kind of a sneak peek for those who follow my channel.
Mm,
But I actually plan to upload the Loco Bazooka 2004 DVD in the future.
very cool. Who was on that one?
Loco Bazooka, I know
Uh,
Shine Down Kitty, Discogs. Okay. Skindred, Monster Magnet, Clutch, Shadows Fall, Nonpoint, Dropbox,
Dropbox.
Kitty. Yeah. You remember Dropbox?
Yeah, I remember Wishbone.
Mm-hmm.
They used to that was I was talking to somebody about this not even that long ago actually. Back in the day, um in the late 90s early 2000s when watching wrestling, they would have, get this, TV commercials for albums. Um and so they would use TV spots in between like the wrestling stuff, and they would advertise various bands and albums. And I remember they did one for Power Man 5000s when Tonight the Stars Revolt. They did one for Seven Dust Home, and then later they did one for Dropbox. And the thing was all clips from Wishbone,
Mm-hmm.
and it was advertising. I think it was a self-titled album.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was advertising that, and that was that was all I knew about Dropbox. Was they're like Wishbone.
Yeah. I think they also used that for like a Transformers game commercial or something.
Also makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I've got so many videos that and albums I upload, and of course the Manson stuff. And
Mhm. Which seems to be doing well. Like people are like seem to be being attracted to the Manson stuff, which is good.
yeah, I've got like people from comments from people saying, "Oh, I was at this show," or uh, I like even if the quality is like total ass, I'll even upload it.
Yeah, it's
It's like
still the thing is it also means a lot to those people who went to those shows, even if it is crap
exactly.
quality. Like I found a bootleg from Nine Inch Nails when I saw them live. And so I have that. And I'm like, it's in that, like, thankfully, because Nine Inch Nails fans are crazy, it's good quality. But yeah, I've seen people talking about various band, like there's this band I uploaded to my channel called Ad Harma, who is
Hmm.
this New York band. Um they uploaded some live footage of I didn't realize it immediately, but then I could see myself in the footage. Uh
Really?
yeah, the thing is it was me and my brother, we saw them open for Dragpipe and Monster Magnet. So yeah, I ended up seeing the footage, and I was very excited. The quality was shit, but I was super happy to see it. I was like, it's me.
That's
Very
cool.
young me.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, that is super cool. And yeah, who cares if it sounds like shit? Like
Yeah.
it it means something. It takes you back to that time. And that's why I like bootlegs.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try to get a hold of another guy online, but he's got a bunch of like other bands. Like I'm gonna try and get a hold of him for some Static X and Cold Chamber bootlegs. So we'll see about that.
I used to have a
Uh,
Coal Chamber bootleg on VHS.
yeah,
But
I do too.
it's on the full show's on YouTube now, so I don't need to pull out the VHS.
Oh, okay. The one I have isn't on YouTube, so
Well, that's cool then. Put it up. Yeah,
I
the
love.
one I had was I can't remember. It was 2000, might have been Ohio, but it was definitely chamber music era, which was
Okay,
that was my era. I love chamber music.
chamber music is such a good album.
So aside from your Let's Plays on the Anthony B channel and the rarities and the bootlegs and everything on Kerry's Rarities, is there anything else
Yes.
you're planning to do with YouTube stuff, or are you just gonna keep going the route you're going?
Well, that's funny you say that. Me and for the longest time, for almost 13 years now, me and my uncle always want to make YouTube videos.
Hmm.
So I mentioned this before to someone, but we're also going to do a channel called Paul's Parodies. We're
Okay,
going to make parody videos and maybe do movie reviews.
very
It's,
cool.
I mean, channel's already there. It just needs to, I need to upload videos. Like, it's called Paul's Parodies, I think, but we'll get that set up down the line, you know.
That's very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah. Mhm. So,
So, outside of YouTube, or do you have anything big you're planning on doing? Any giant life changes you're going through?
well, let me tell you, next year I turn 25, and that's quite
Oh my God, you're ancient.
a, and that's going to be a milestone. I'm going to attempt to, you know, drive, maybe lose weight. You know, we'll see.
I am forever on that trying to lose weight bandwagon.
Yes.
But I've been going to the gym, so I'm starting. I just gotta. I'm far behind.
You definitely look a little slimmer, for sure.
It's all camera magic.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So
So what is your third album? Actually, what
okay.
is your third and fourth album? But we'll segue in.
My third album is Super Heist.
Hmm.
With you, are you familiar with Super Heist?
I love 8 Miles High, and I know a few things from the Prized Recruit.
Okay. The album I'm talking about is Identical Remote Controlled Reactions.
Aha, I know what that is. I know, like, I said that like I'm familiar with it. I know, like, there was a one music video for it, and I think that's the only song I know.
Seven
There,
years.
yes, yeah, there was at the very least it was a single. That's the only one I'm actually familiar with. But it's one of those albums that I constantly see in people's, like, Discog shops up for sale.
Hmm.
But talk about that one.
Okay, yeah. Super Heist, for those who don't know, is a Australian new metal band. They had a couple of stuff, but their second album to me is like super, super. Again, sort of like on the same thing with Folder. It's like very melodic,
Hmm.
and it's very, it's very catchy. Like when you listen to it, it's very, very good. And again, another one of those bands that easily could have fit Ozfest Europe, you know,
They
in
should have
some
done.
way.
They should have done Ozfest Australia.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Put Super Heist. Put Sunk Loto on there. You're good.
yeah, and yeah. So yeah, listen to it. You know, it's really good. Some of it's pretty heavy too. Uh, and it was the last album which the vocalist, the original vocalist, was on before he
Oh, I didn't
left.
know that.
Yeah, they had a couple of vocalists over the years. They have a new album out now, but it's like not. It's sort of like what uh Johnny from Spineshank did.
No,
Yeah,
that still makes me mad.
I know, put Silent
Should have just
Civilian.
made another Silent Civilian album, because that's what you made.
Yeah,
You put it under the spine shank name to trick me.
yeah. And to be fair, I do enjoy Silent Civilian to a point, but
I like, oh god, I like Rebirth of the Temple. That's kind
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Oh, there's one other song, and I'm forgetting what it was.
Okay. Uh, but yeah, uh, it's really good. If some songs on it are my favorite song is on it is probably Beating Down from Satellites, which is a really good song. I think, and there's even a live version of it, if you can believe that. That was on one of their compilation albums.
That's cool.
Yeah, and Empire is a really good song. Liberate's like a really good opener for it for sure if you heard it. Uh, the Karma Division, Dear Enemy is like one of the best songs on it because it's sort of like autobiographical autobiographical
Hmm.
in a way because it's like about people who you're friends with, but I mean it's kind of a trope for new metal, some of it, but I mean
It's a
Cold
far more
Chamber,
personal track.
yeah, I mean Cold Chamber did it with Friend, so I mean
Eh,
well, that whole Dark Days album in general.
dark days, dark days, dark days.
Yeah.
Now I I will forever say Cold Chamber is one of my favorite stupid bands, because I love them. Boy, can I not take them seriously sometimes, but I still love it. I don't care.
Yeah. One step forward, two steps back, three
Two
steps
steps forward, go.
go. Yeah. Yeah. And funny enough, the Cold Chamber, that was actually the very first video I ever uploaded to Kerry's Rarities, which
That was like what made me subscribe to Kerry's Rarities before I realized it was you.
yeah.
Was that I saw the live Cold Chamber thing and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then we were talking, me and Santiago were talking. We're like, we should get this guy in the Discord. And then all our failed attempts at trying to do that one time, and it never worked. We're like, well, maybe later. And then talking to you, like offhand mentioned Carrie's Rarities. She's like, oh, it's me. I was like, what? Your
Yeah.
alter ego.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Uh,
so what is your fourth album, sir?
Fourth album. It was originally gonna be my third, but you know what? We all need a fourth. And I'm picking my pick is Superjoint Rituals, Use Once and Destroy.
That's that's another weird band that for no absolute reason I've seen live.
Really?
Yeah, they were at one of the Ozfests, and I couldn't 04, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them live. I saw Down live too.
Really?
Yeah, during also Ozfest. That would have been
Oh,
Down
two.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, Down was a trip. I liked Down. Superjoint not as much, but highly energetic.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine all the coke that was just consumed that day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, what got you into Superjoint? Was it a Pantera connection?
Sort of, sort of. Um, I just want to like hear more, because if for those who don't know, one of my favorite vocalists of all time is Phil Anselmo.
He's a good vocalist.
He's an amazing vocalist, and
Yeah,
I want
I couldn't do what he does.
no, 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 no. Uh, and I just wanted to check out his other stuff, and my cousin mentioned he saw them live back in '02. Uh, and I remember learning about that Hank Williams III was also in it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Are you familiar with Hank the Third's? Are you a country guy
No,
or?
but I know who Hank Williams III is.
Okay, fair enough.
That's like one of the only country-ish bands I've been exposed to,
Hmm.
like by like my metalhead friends. Like there's
Hmm.
a one particular friend of mine named Doug, who he's the obscure metal guy. Like he schools me on a lot of things that aren't new metal because he detests it. But uh like yeah, he's shown me Hank Williams III and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, this is super interesting.
Yeah, he definitely sounds a lot like his grandfather. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, but yeah, it just I got into it and I was like, wow, this is like really heavy stuff, and it's like out of control. It was almost like it almost seemed at the time like sort of like on Pantera's like what was their 1996 album called? Oh, Great
Far
Southern Trendkill.
yeah, I almost said Far Beyond Driven. That was 94.
Yeah,
Yeah, Great Southern Trendkill was cool. And then Reinventing the Steel was good, but not great.
that's my favorite album by
Oh, never mind.
them.
It's there are some of my favorite songs are on Reinventing the Steel. It's just I have a hard time getting through the whole thing because it kind of has peaks and troughs. But
Mhm.
but yeah, I am a big fan of both Far Beyond Driven and uh wow, it just went out of my head. Great Southern Trendkill.
Yeah.
um
Are you a fan of their 80s era?
I have still never heard it. All
Really?
this time, I've never heard anything before Cowboys from Hell. And I love Cowboys from Hell.
Hmm.
But no, I've never heard Metal Magic or Power Metal, or I can't remember what the other one's called. Um and I know Anselmo was on one of them, and I know they had a different
Yeah,
vocalist on
Power
the
Metal.
other two.
Yeah, Terry Glaze was on the first three, and then Phil Osama was on the fourth.
Oh, there's four?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. Then I was missing one.
I Am the Night. Well,
Which
something in the
one's the one
jungle.
with the crappy drawing of the cat?
Power Metal. Oh
Okay.
no, oh no, Metal Magic.
Maybe,
Uh, it's gonna piss me off.
I like 'cause I
Yeah,
remember
Metal Magic.
okay. I remember regularly seeing the cover and going, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, when they were a local band. Yeah, Superjoy Ritual. That was like another one of his projects, and I know pretty much every single Phil Anselmo project like he's ever done. Like he's got so many, but Superjoy just caught like just jumped out at me
It's
because
very chaotic
it is.
and
It
like
was.
adrenaline filled. It's good.
It is. You know, and to a point, I can understand why Phil doesn't want to do it anymore these days because of those memories they had because it was just so crazy. If you look at whatever happened during that tour, it was just like so wild.
That's
But their
kind of
music,
I was gonna
what?
say that's kind of like Townsend with Strappy Young Lad. He's like
Yeah,
I cherish those memories, but I don't want to go back there. I'm good.
yeah, I saw that interview too. Uh, but yeah, like listen to stuff like Four Songs, pretty good. F Your Enemy, that's a really good song too.
Mhm.
They had a video for that. Drug Your Love, just every song on even the song Super Jordan Ritual is just like a thing. And the song Everyone Hates Everyone, which is still we're still it's very relevant today, unfortunately,
Yeah.
that song to a point. Um
No, you're right.
yeah. Uh what other songs that are on that album that are really oh The Alcoholic, the video for that's pretty interesting because that was done by a director, Jim Van Bever. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Okay, he's done a lot of independent kind of movies and stuff. But yeah, they're really good, and the second album's really good too. That was actually the album they went on tour with, Lethal Dose of American Hatred.
I think that's the one I'm more familiar with.
Yeah, that's the one with Dressed Like a Target, Waiting for the Turning Point, which should have been the opener for the album, but whatever. It just kind of spoke to me. And there was a time when I was listening to Superjoint like every day, like constantly. It was just like had it every day in my head. Just I pretty much could hear the entire album front to back if I could. I could do that stuff.
I've definitely had bands like that. I mean, we all have, but bands like that where, yeah, you absorb that album and you keep absorbing it. And like, I mean, we already mentioned Antichrist Superstar. I was that way with that album for a while. But yeah, there's been a bunch where like I'm like, nope, this is hook it to my veins. Give me this all the time. Even nowadays, I'm finding albums that it's not mostly newer music. Like more often than not, like I have a bunch of people I talk to on like Discord and stuff who are like, oh, I'm making my best of 2022 list. I'm like, I've heard like 4 albums this year. I got nothing. But like, but this year I went back and I heard stuff from like the 90s that I had never heard before, and then got super obsessed on some of those albums that I'd never heard before. So I was like, so yeah, it's still happening. Still stuff to dig. But yeah, I remember the Superjoint set, like the vague memories I have. I just remember it being like 0 to 60 as soon as it started and not stopping. Like just go for the throat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm jealous. What other bands, out of curiosity, what other bands did you see that same Ozfest?
2004?
Yeah.
Dimmu Borgir and the Sunlight. That was interesting. I love Dimmu Borgir. They shouldn't have been playing in the sun. It was like when I saw Cradle of Filth in the sun. Shouldn't have been in the sun. 04. I left early because I missed Priest. Which I regret now. I didn't care at the time because it wasn't like I was not into the classic heavy metal bands. I'm still not fully, but some of those bands I like. Trying to think who was 04. 04 was the swap to metalcore. So 04 was Atreyu, Throwdown, God Forbid, Bleeding Through, Unearth.
Let's see. Ozfest 204.
Also, maybe Devil Driver?
I think Devil Driver. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, 04 was Magnify. Oh, yeah. Boy. That was oof. That's so that I'm going to tangent just for a sec. I might have mentioned this on one of the New Breed episodes. I saw Magnify was a band who shouldn't have been on Ozfest. They're more of a hard rock band.
Yeah.
And they put them in between Devil Driver and Unearth. And boy, did the crowd not like them. They booed the shit out of them. I liked it because I liked that style of music. Like I dealt with the Beautiful Creatures in 2001. And I loved that. But yeah, they got booed to hell. And so after I was done with Ozfest, I think it was within the next week I picked up the album because it was one of those things where if you go to Best Buy it was like $8.99 or something. I was like, I'll get the album. So it was back in the day where you could go to a website and the band would have like an email you can write to them. So I got the album and I really liked it. So I wrote them an email and I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know I bought this album. I saw you guys at Ozfest. Like, you were good at Ozfest and the album's really good. Just wanted to say thanks for writing good music. They wrote back to me and said, you have no idea how much this means to us. We have been getting relentlessly booed at every show we've been playing on Ozfest, and we're having a really bad time. So thank you. And I was like, oh, feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, had they been on like the Warp Tour,
They would have been fine on the Warped Tour.
yeah.
It reminds me of years ago. A friend of two friends of mine went to a show, and they went for the headliners. Well, one of them went for one of the headliners, one for the other. But it was In Flames and Mudvayne co-headlining, and Depswa opened. Would you like to guess how Depswa was treated by the fans of In Flames and Mudvayne?
Oh
Not
boy.
well.
Yeah.
The whole time they were putting up I didn't go to the show, but my friend told me that they were just putting up the pussy symbol at them the entire time they were trying to play. And I was like, oh, that is awful.
Oh man.
Poor Depswa.
I know.
But yeah, 2004 was the beginning of everything going metalcore, and that was the last Ozfest I went to. I had intended to go the next year, but they wouldn't give me the day off from work, so I didn't go. And then by that point, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then we had short-lived festivals, like we had Sounds of the Underground, and then we had the Rockstar Mayhem Energy Tour thing that I saw. God, I had some weird experience with that show, with that tour, because I saw Dragon Force.
Okay.
And they were super entertaining. And I also a friend of mine was like really wanted to see certain bands, and I was not interested, but I followed her around, and I had to sit through 2 songs from Mastodon, who I do not like. And I was bored.
That's not bored me.
Yeah, I was bored to death, and I was like, I'm gonna go wander to the other stage. So I went to the other stage and I watched Five Finger Death Punch. It was highly entertained. Say what you want about Five Finger Death Punch, they brought a lot of energy, and I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
And then I saw Machine Head play 4 songs, because they were like, what if we have a 30-minute set and we're touring for the Blackening, and we just play 9 to 10 minute long songs? And I'm like, you guys are assholes. Oh wait, no, they played 4 really long songs, and then they closed with Davidian. But the other songs, it was like Halo, Aesthetics of Hate, the opening song from Blackening, which I'm forgetting the name of. And yeah, it was just, I was like, this is awesome, but I was kind of hoping you'd play more songs, but that's not happening. Okay, cool. And then we left before Disturbed and Godsmack, because the people I was with were very big Disturbed Godsmack haters. So like, all right, I guess we're gonna go.
I'm not a fan of Godsmack, but really Disturbed?
Yeah, they hated Godsmack more. But
yeah.
But yeah, they were, the thing is, by that point I had seen Disturbed twice. So I was fine.
Okay.
And I'm on the fence about Godsmack. Godsmack's all right. They're another one of those stupid bands, but they're good at what they do. So, and the little bit I heard of them, because when we were leaving, Godsmack had started their set. So the little I got to hear of them as we were leaving the venue, I heard like 2 songs, and they sounded really good live. I was like, oh, kind of wish I was here by myself so I could have stayed and watched them.
Yeah.
I probably would have still left before Disturbed just to beat traffic, but
yeah.
all right. So, where can people find you?
Social media wise or YouTube wise?
All of the above. Anything you want to give out. You don't have to give out anything you don't want to give.
Okay. If you want to follow me on YouTube, just type in YouTube Anthony B. I'll give a link in the description or at my channel, and you could also find Kerry's Rarities on YouTube easily. I usually respond to every single comment someone gives out, no matter what.
And just to assure you, I will put the links to your channels in the description of the video.
Oh, thank you. I'll even give a link to some of my social media if you want. I have a Snapchat, but that's and an Instagram. I'll
I
see
have,
whether what.
I was gonna say I have an Instagram, but I barely use it.
Okay. I'm kind of selective with people on Facebook, but you
Yeah, no,
know,
that's more than fine. Don't worry about that.
yeah, we'll see about that. But uh, as for yeah, uh, is there anything else I can plug? Uh, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's
The
pretty much
the
it.
future parodies channel. Look, be on the lookout for that.
Yes, be on the lookout for that. And also, I'm going to up. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I'm going to upload tonight. My as soon as this video goes up, I'm going to upload my entire new slash alternative slash industrial metal CD collection. So be on the lookout for that.
Very cool.
It's a very long video. So
I'm sure people who are fans of this channel will love it because they love CDs. They're crazy for them.
oh yeah.
I still don't understand how that's one of my most popular videos on this channel. That
I know.
video is archaic as hell. I watch
Yeah.
that video and I'm like, ugh, what's wrong with me? Rat cage in the background, unfurled. All right. So till next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.